Hey, it's Monday afternoon. This is the coffee break with Joe Lamb and Michael Stone. And apparently, Michael and I are having difficulties with Facebook and with Be Live and getting signed in. I have had problems now for a couple weeks with killing all of my watches when I put them on. So maybe it's just me and electronics, but I finally did get in and I've sent Dr. Stone the link. And here's Dr. Stone now. So he's here. And coming close, there he is. Say something, Michael.
Howdy, how you doing?
Good, we can hear you. I was just relating that I seem to be blowing up electronics. I haven't had one watch actually work for more than a day of the 3 watches which I have with all new batteries in over like the last 2 weeks.
You have the superpowers. You're tied into the solar flares. Take it as a message from the gods or something.
Yeah. Well, what someone actually said to me this morning was, well, after all of your work at Feathered Pipe to be in the present, why would you need a watch? You know where you are. You're present.
Oh, there you go. That's the challenge. That's the
Yeah.
challenge. We know where we are. We're here.
And we know what time it is. It's the present. So Dr. Stone and I spent last week at Feathered Pipe Ranch in Helena, Montana. Just an absolutely beautiful place.
Yeah, it was spectacular. It's one of the foremost yoga retreat centers in the United States. And Joe Lamb crafted a great 5-day program that 4 of us were able to help 11 different people participate in, and it was a wonderful experience, and there was a lot of work done.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Have you looked at any of the photographs from the retreat?
I haven't looked at the Google Share Drive. I've gone ahead and I reviewed mine, but I look forward to looking at it. I imagine they caught us in they caught the whole group in various aspects of nature and laughter, fun, and didactic stuff.
Indeed, and it was just a beautiful venue. You know, Crystal Water, Eric Myers, Sam and Lindsay, and in the kitchen, Matt, who was helping out Eric, Jacob, who was also in the kitchen, and I forget the other cook in the kitchen's name. I think it was John. It was really a quite remarkable group of people who were helping us out during the course of the week.
Yeah, spectacular, mainly vegetarian fare, but between that and a wide range of accommodations and some beautiful days for some walks and a few hikes. Yeah, I think people got to really get a break from their normal routine.
Yeah. It's the program that the Consilience Partnership has been putting on, and I think the unique part about it is we're finding our way into kind of a new place. Basically, the opportunity to help people kind of with a transpersonal psychology coupled with the functional medicine model to make changes in their overall life. And I think some of the opportunities were really a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it is interesting how one of the challenges that we put forward is for people to um, draw their past as they see it, draw their present and a problem as they see it. And people were reflective. You don't have to be an artist to be able to illustrate or, upon reflection, put some things together. And I think that that's a great tool that can be brought forward in even in the clinical setting as homework for patients that are being seen next time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to figure out how to share a picture on the screen right here. Um, this is a wonderful picture of, well, it's not very big, but this is a wonderful picture of Michael and Susan Buell, two of our faculty. And this is a wonderful picture of Courtney, Courtney Suter, our other faculty member. And let's see if I can find a fun picture of the site. Well, not a fun picture of the site, but a fun picture of Indian paintbrush, a um, 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 a wildflower that's going extinct, and we got to actually see some as we were walking. And let's see, maybe I can find one other kind of
We
remarkable.
also had the blessing of having um, your media person there for a few days.
Kamala Sasaki. Kamala
That's exactly.
was a true rock star. She's actually the one who took all these photographs. And just look at this amazing photograph of a stand of beech tree, a stand of aspens. And that's just absolutely incredible. And
as you can tell from the variety of pictures, it was, first you could hear no road noise. All you could hear were the sounds of birds at different times of the day and night, early morning, and at the beginning and end of the day, and very few other sounds. So it really promoted a place for really significant reflection and an opportunity to really unplug.
yeah, and I think this was one of the deer. I had never seen deer hop before. And some of the deer, instead of like loping along, almost seemed to hop into the air like antelopes. It was pretty impressive.
Yep.
And
beautiful, small, large pond or small lake, and hills with views, prayerful spots, time to connect with some of the longer traditions of feather pipe that had been there for 46 years, and also connecting with some of the stories and legends of the First Nations peoples that are in the area. So it was a very remarkable time.
yeah, I'm looking to see if we have a picture of the stupa in these photographs, but we don't have a picture of the Buddhist stupa in what's here. And
I'll make sure I forward some along of mine, and that will be good. What was your big take home from any reflections on the last
um,
week?
I think my really big take home was that how fortunate we are to, as clinicians, to be in a place where patients are willing to jump in and share their lives with us.
Mm-hmm.
And um, in a setting of profound beauty, what's even more beautiful is just the absolute trust that people give you in terms of they'll tell you their story, they'll share with you the difficulties in their life, and they'll let you work with them as both they and us learn more about ourselves and about each other and about really how remarkable human beings are for their resilience and their potential for love, even in the most adverse of situations.
That's exactly true. Yeah,
So
I absolutely agree with that.
this is,
So, what do you see as? Go ahead.
you go ahead.
I was just going to ask what you see on the horizon for next steps and where people can. I think the brilliance of the program was really the melding of functional medicine with the aspects of cognitive behavioral therapy, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and how really reflections on the past in your own timeline, even your own genogram, you begin to see patterns that you can begin to try to identify what your authentic self is or your ideal self, and then come up with smart goals to try to take the next steps and begin to actuate some change. And I think everybody there had those kind of breakthroughs.
Absolutely. And, it's interesting because, you do that work as an individual, and even as faculty members, we do the work. Like, when we were drawing our pictures of the future, part of one of the exercises was at the start of the week to draw a picture of our past, our present, and our interaction with our biggest challenge to wellness, and then to at the end of the week to draw a picture of the future and where we're headed. And it was really illustrative for me to do that and learn some interesting things. But you do it, as people, but even the program does it a little bit. And I think this is your point, Michael. We are going to be in the next couple of weeks looking at how it went, what worked, what didn't work, how you can sometimes buy a high-end camcorder and a high-end disc for recording the digital information. And then you find out afterwards that even though the user manual said you were okay, there's a blog that says you'll not be okay, and you have to run out and get new chips. But I think the fascinating thing in that regard was it's a learning process, but there's little practical pieces like that, but there's bigger pieces like what is the best balance between the kind of personal exploration and the didactics, learning about new tools and how to incorporate them. And we've had some opportunity to play now at Harmony Hill in a feathered pipe, and we're going to be working on the curriculum over the next 1 to 2 months before we come up with some venues, hopefully for the fall of 2021, but certainly the spring of 2022.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity and expand the scope and give people the opportunity to in a place to really unplug for about 5 days and really do some great work. How often do we allow ourselves to unplug for that long to reflect and consider and project into the future?
Absolutely. Um, you know, I feel better for having been there and having taken the week, even though I was sharing with Courtney this morning that I kind of felt like having a panic attack as I came back into the office. I caught up on a lot of the clinical stuff yesterday, but there was a lot of other stuff. And you and I both sat through a publications meeting and were like, oh, that's a deadline we didn't make.
Yeah, well, such is life. And, we've, for me, our families come out of the grand celebration of the wedding of our fourth child to get married. And, life happens in spite of what's happening in the clinic and when we're out and about. So there's a lot for everybody to be working on and with things opening up post COVID, there seems like there's always more to do.
I think there is always more to do, and I think it's going to be interesting. I think we're beginning to see some changes in that. My mother's independent living facility has just put a rule into place that because of the Delta variant and the slightly reduced protection offered by the vaccines against the Delta variant, that she can't socialize with anybody who's not vaccinated.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting dance, isn't it? There
Yeah,
are patients that have Lyme or autoimmune disease where there is a understandable hesitancy for medical reasons to get the vaccination. The society and the population is going to move on with the requirements, and so it may be, unfortunately, a far more isolating experience for those who are unable to get the vaccine.
yeah, exactly. And it'll be interesting to see how people who have you know their resistance to getting vaccinated, whether that changes with some of these sorts of things. But for example, we were going to have dinner with my first ex-wife when we're in Washington D.C. this coming week. Um, she lives there and my mother lives there, but we're not going to be able to have dinner with her now because of the changed rules at Goodwin House.
Yeah, what are you doing in Washington, D.C.?
I am taking the kids to see their grandmother.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
know, they're all vaccinated, which is fortunate, and Trinity has graduated high school, and this seems to be an appropriate little gap for taking them.
Well, that's
So,
great.
yeah.
Well, may you may you be in the capital without anybody insurrecting.
Well, we're actually flying into DC, kidnapping my mother and taking her to Baltimore to visit my oldest daughter. And I get to see the organic flower farm. Kind of, obviously flowers don't need to be organic since they're not eaten, but they're raised in a natural, sustainable, not, fashion that would qualify as being organic. I get to see that farm for the first time this weekend coming up.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to get you a copy of my mom's latest book of poetry. At 86, she published her most recent book, and it's filled with very poignant poems and writings. And um, I'll have to make sure you have a copy.
That would be awesome. What's the
And
title?
we had great. The Great Hunt and Other Poems.
Can
And
people look for it
we
on
spent yesterday
Amazon?
evening. It is on Amazon. Patricia Wixon, Patty Wixon, The Great Hunt and Other Poems. And yeah, it's a wonderful collection. Um, it's her fifth, I believe, her fifth book of poetry, all published after the age of 65.
Wow,
So it's an inspiration to everybody to continue to write and share your thoughts and reflections. And um, anyway, it's always takes a lot of courage. Joe, you've done a lot of writing. You've published a lot of things. It takes a lot of courage to put it out there and be willing to hear people's responses to what you write, and especially when it comes creatively. So
yeah,
you know, more power to folks who are willing to share their humanity and
absolutely.
perspective.
You've written poetry.
Yes, that's true.
And
I've been encouraged by my mother to put them all together, and you know, if she's so inspired by at 86 to put another book and throw it on Amazon, you know, she's wondering what's holding us back, Joe.
yeah, well, no, I get her. I was really, speaking of publications and stuff, um, our our colleague Lucia Aronica, a PhD at Stanford, um, today, who was presenting some of the work from Lifehouse and looking at the genomic piece and some of the really cool things that she saw today. I was impressed by. Um,
Oh, oh
um,
man, it's exciting stuff.
the connection between um, the kind of standard genomic evaluation and what the genes say, and then kind of flips with, oh, well, the wild type gene may be X, but if you're challenged by detox, you may actually be happier to have the mutant slower activity phase one gene. Um, it may be protective and it may create less oxidative stress.
Yeah,
And
wasn't that you and I were both pretty excited when she pointed that out because it really points to where we get to look through the lens of more personalized and precise polygenic scores, and it's not going to be as easy as you know as some authors make it like, oh, you have dirty genes therefore it's bad. Actually, as we all know in nature, a little more nuanced.
yeah, well, just the fact that, you know, if you have a certain phase one detox gene SNP, that you seem to have lower oxidized LDL levels. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, does that actually mean that you have less oxidative stress, or you're just less able to demonstrate it? I mean, it asks some interesting questions.
And it is, and I think from this we're going to start layering over, for example, you know, caffeine intake, alcohol intake, smoking history. We're going to start laying over all these different components that play a role in the detox oxidative stress equation. And I think we're going to be able to see new patterns with the great work that her team has done with Jose Reyes and and Lucia. I tell you, I think there's going to be great information that seeps out of this long process and study, and just shows the power of having statisticians to be able to really present the data in a way that makes sense and allows us to see what the data says versus what we believe it's going to say.
Yeah, the work led by Jose Ordovas, um,
Yeah.
from Tufts, and and then the guys from Bennett Data Sciences, Andre Volkov and David Albrecht, who've been helping us with the statistical evaluation. And, there are about 8 of us involved in writing 5 papers at the moment. And this is going to be a really remarkable first kind of report of what we did and what we learned in all sorts of fields, like what we learned about how to prescribe behavioral change to people, what we look at as the potential for blending, behavior into the functional medicine model and empowering people, for looking at, in the first paper, which was on metabolic transformation or detox, and the connection to, as you said, polygenic scores for assessing risk, but taking that further for immune health and cardiovascular health and general well-being, perhaps even. And then that correlates between the nutrition physical exam and what we learn from doing a nutrition physical exam, and the little hints that we get, seeing, finding, decreased vibratory sense in a person today, and digging a little deeper into their area and into their history, and finding out that they grew up in University Place, and they lived within the plume of the Ruston refinery, the Anasarca refinery, which was copper and arsenic, for the first 10 years of their life. And what that may uncover for the allergy symptoms and histamine intolerance that they seem to be experiencing now.
Yeah, we're getting, I think it's really quite admittedly rare opportunity to have a team of people and a funding that allows this kind of work to be done. And it's with great gratitude that we've been part of this, and also now we get to do the added and steady work of getting what was collected with all of its successes and some of its challenges into a format that can really be presented in a way so we can highlight some of the findings that will be new to the literature.
Absolutely.
Hats off to Metagenics for funding this study.
Yeah, hats off to Brent Eck and Dr. Jeffrey Bland, who were really the two visionaries who said, this is something we should be doing, and enrolled both you and I into the mission.
Right. Quite a team with research team with Nikki Contractor and all the tens of people that have been involved. And we have a great appreciation for big data. Big data on even 360 people is a lot of data.
Yeah. Alona Larson, Dr. Larson has been helping project manage the whole affair, and manages our research at Metagenics, and Dina Mehdi, our clinical research assistant certified. And then, we have, our fellow clinicians, which included Dr. Deanna Minnick and Dr. Michelle Leary, and Monique Klass, an adult nurse practitioner. And then, we've got our writing team, which includes the names that I've already mentioned, but also Dr. Jen Ryan from the National University of Natural Medicine in Portland, and I think and we wouldn't be able to do this without Venkat, and I would butcher his last name if I tried to say it, but Venkat, who's director of IT, who's led the whole effort to create the database and the new work that's being done um, by Eric Lundquist down at the new PLMC as we're like kicking off the next stage of Lifehouse to collect data on clinical trial subjects and to see their experience with the PLMX app and all of those pieces. We really are taking some interesting steps forward.
Yeah, well, it's going to be exciting next year for both the Consilience Partnership and for as the data matures from this Lifehouse project. And Joe, unbelievably, once again, we've our coffee break, we covered a wide range of topics, and it's time to go back to work.
Yep, it is time to go back to work. So happy Monday, the 12th of July, and we'll be looking for you next Monday, the 19th. And Mondays hereafter for a while. And we'll keep you up to date with dates. And look for some new fun stuff to appear on YouTube and Facebook coming out of some of the recordings that we did up at Feathered Pipe. Kamala was amazing with the camera. So very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to our attendees, and thanks for our listeners. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.